Hello and welcome to Q&Ahmed. Today I have the great pleasure of being with Naomi Vowels, who is the co-founder and CEO of an exciting company, Givvable, that is doing so much to help make a sustainable world. She and her sister run this company where they help customers track, measure, and report carbon emission. They also help their customers more aware of their suppliers such that their customers can take an end-to-end view of their supply chains.
Hi Ahmed, thanks for having me here.
Naomi, companies across the world are looking to become more sustainable. And amongst various challenges is how do they really report and understand and measure their sustainability footprint? You and your sister have brought this fantastic idea to reality. What has your experience been so far?
The origins of Givvable are an interesting story. It started back in a project when Frances and I were both on maternity leave, and we developed, it was all tech-enabled, personalised children's books. So the idea was to, you could build your own character. And from the beginning, we wanted to embed social impact into that project. So we donated one book for every book sold to a charity that supported children's literacy. And as we started off, it was mainly a B2C type of project, but we started to get interest and orders from corporates and businesses. And these were companies that wanted to use our books for their marketing. And we thought, that is really cool. They're doing this through an ordinary business function, marketing, and making impact. It's not coming through CSR, it's not coming through philanthropy, it's just an everyday business function. They weren't tracking it and they weren't reporting on it. So from there, I guess we had two hypotheses or areas we wanted to explore. And one was, is it a problem for businesses to capture and track this impact that they're making? And secondly, is it hard for businesses to find companies that are making impact? And so we spent a lot of time doing interviews with companies, people in our network, and we did find that both of them were validated, though they are problems, and they're actually huge problems for companies. So that's how Givvable started. And so what we do is we help businesses understand and identify the sustainability profile of their suppliers, and we help them improve. We work with all types, so companies that are very forward thinking on this, like Microsoft is an example. We also work with companies that are now in a state where they're encountering regulations and rules that are going to change how they operate. And then we're also working with companies that are really at the beginning of their journey. We help them set a baseline, monitor, track, and then take action.
You're probably across the reports that we see publicly available, the World Economic Forum report on climate disaster, COP27, the climate conference. It occurs to me that there are two challenges that many of our customers and the world across is facing. One is of measurement and the inconsistency and the challenges that companies face in reporting. And the second is just the lack of data and technology and platforms. How do you see it from your vantage?
So that's an interesting and difficult question to answer. First of all, we need to have reporting harmonisation of those standards, and we are starting to see that across jurisdictions. Then in terms of measurement and the disparities in how companies measure their emissions and other sustainability impacts, I think there is a huge role here for AI and big data to play. Firstly, in the auditability of that data. And the other aspect that is very important that AI and big data brings is credibility to the plan. We can use AI to identify where there's overlaps in reporting standards. Large corporations that have presence in different countries are reporting against a lot of frameworks, both within one jurisdiction and across jurisdictions. So we can use AI to help us identify and streamline that process for organisations, because it is getting to a point where sustainability reporting is becoming a little bit burdensome. There is a lot there, and if we can help companies on that, then that saves time, it saves money, it improves profitability for companies. So Ahmed, what role do you think technology companies can play in this space, in the sustainability space?
That's a great question. The first really is about our own commitment as a company. We went public and we said by 2030 we want to be carbon neutral. But also the most super ambitious plan is that by 2050 we become completely neutral of all the emissions we've ever made. And we're making good progress. But then, independently and individually, we can only make that much of a difference. And therefore, as an organization, we think about digital twinning, digital metaverse, and using AI to essentially help companies determine their future footprints. We'll be in a space where we can continue to optimize the data, and therefore we believe Azure OpenAI can play a huge role in creating data sets that mitigate the impact on the climate.
Absolutely, and I also think there are tools like Digital Earth Pacific that Microsoft has issued in that is helping Pacific Island nations to understand the impacts of environmental challenges on their nations and develop mitigation strategies.
Thank you, Naomi. I mean, that was so energizing. We're at a very profound moment in our industrial and economic development as a society. Since the 1880s, global temperatures are up 1.1 degrees Celsius. And we're now staring at 1.5 degrees in a very short time. We believe technology will play a very critical role in not only measuring, capturing, and identifying sources of carbon footprint, but also through the latest models and Azure OpenAI create models that can infinitely simulate supply chains, production environments to identify spots for carbon reduction. This would go a long way in helping industries and consumers become more carbon neutral. We have a chance in this world to make an impact, and the chance is now. As we see the world around us creating and generating more goods and services, they have to be done with a much lower carbon footprint, and technology will play a significant role in reducing that. Thank you again for listening to me, and thank you for taking the time and watching us on the show.